All right, we are live. So welcome back to DAP University. So today we've got a lot to talk about in our live streams today. Okay, the first big thing that I want to discuss is what's going on with this big airdrop that's going to go on with the actual country of Ukraine itself. All right, yes, you heard me right. The country of Ukraine actually doing a crypto airdrop. Well, we're actually going to get the details on this and see what it's about. There's a lot of question marks here. We're going to explore those in this video. How could you participate in this airdrop? What's going to happen? This is a really important thing because this is one of the first times I've ever personally seen anything like this. I can't remember a time that a country has done an airdrop before in the crypto space. And of course, all the crazy stuff that's going on right now in the international scene involving Ukraine. This is a pretty big deal. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in the space since our live stream we did yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. You'll find out about this whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions and a lot more. So if you're around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dapuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Hives, Quinn, Machiavelli, Yanni, I hope I'm saying that right. Catalin, Wrath, welcome, Morgan. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So Ukraine is actually having a big airdrop, okay? And the details are all coming out about this, but let me just pull a strip from my screen right here, and we can see what they are. So, so Ukraine promises crypto airdrop while leaving many questions left unanswered. So again, this is a big deal. I cannot remember another time that I've seen an actual country do an airdrop of any kind. If you all can remind me of a time that that's happened before, which I don't think I've seen, let me know in the comment section below or the chat section below. Again, I've been in the space for a long time, watching this stuff unfold for years now, and this is a first for me. So anyways, of course, there's a lot going on with Ukraine right now. I definitely want to be sensitive to everybody's affected by that type of stuff. We've been talking about that in these live streams. We've been bringing up, these countries that are affected right now for lots of reasons because crypto is kind of at the epicenter of a lot of that. We're not trying to use this as some crazy opportunity to exploit this situation as much as sometimes you have to be in these situations to see why this stuff matters. And that's what we're trying to do here. So what I want to highlight, we're going to talk about the airdrop and the specifics of it in a second, but the utility of an airdrop in the middle of this situation is also really important. Ukraine's doing this because they see value in it. All right. So that's the thing I want to highlight is that this is actually useful technology that has powerful incentives behind it. Okay, so let's look at this. While its nation laboring under Russian invasion, Ukraine set crypto Twitter abuzz with the promise of an airdrop, a common reward to early investors in new coins and NFTs. So airdrop confirmed, Ukraine's official Twitter account posted today. So we actually see that tweet here. We'll see this here in a second. Okay, so while so-called snapshot is a standard step in the airdrop process, used to record funds people have to allocate to a project. It wasn't clear exactly what the snapshot referenced to in this case. We don't know if we don't know what the airdrop's going to be, if it's going to be in cryptocurrency tokens or if it's going to be in NFTs or some form. It's going to be crypto in some way, most likely, something crypto related. We don't know if it's going to be NFT. We don't know if it's going to be a token. So Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation didn't immediately respond to an email asking for more details on the airdrop. So basically, since the invasion last week, the Ukrainian government has been using memes and digital growth hacking techniques to raise awareness of its plight and garner funds, including online appeal to send Putin to Jupiter by virtual rocket parts for $2.99 a pop. So they're using lots of kind of internet marketing techniques, and one of those is actually using crypto airdrop. So let's kind of dive into this. Let's talk about some of the details, and then I talk about sort of the philosophy of the airdrop and the effectiveness of this as a tool. So basically, they are taking a snapshot of people who had donations. And I'm actually going to pull Washi up on the screen here a second. He had technical difficulty. I'm just going to hold on a second. We had a little technical difficulty with our live stream. Hang on a second. So they're taking a snapshot of people who donated initially with Bitcoin and Ether. Okay. This was by a specific date. So basically, They started accepting donations on February 26th. Okay, and they've taken a snapshot of people who have done this, and you can see the time of play out. The airdrop is not confirmed yet, but now it's actually confirmed. So the airdrop is going to be tomorrow at the time of this tweet. Okay, March 3rd at 6 p.m. in Ukraine time. Okay. So they're going to have more results come out. So we don't know exactly what they're going to be yet, and that's where there's a lot of question mark here. We don't know what the actual crypto rewards are going to be. Is it going to be NFTs? Is it going to be a cryptocurrency? Is it going to be something else? Okay, but we're talking about the airdrop and the effectiveness of this as a charity tactic. Okay, so all right, I'll tell you a funny anecdote. So basically, there's a funny. So if you're in the United States, all right. You might understand this. So basically, this is a kind of a story. It's an illusion or an allusion or something that's similar to this situation. It's a story to illustrate a point here. So basically, I was with some people, and we had some really good barbecue. So if you're in the United States, you know about some barbecue, especially if you're in the South. If you're in Texas, you're in the Southeast, anywhere like that, like you know about barbecue. Okay, and we had some of the best barbecue we'd ever had. Okay, and we got it from a fundraiser, basically, where you went and you gave money to a cause. Okay, and then you got this like great, this great barbecue. Is better than most of the restaurant barbecue that we had. Okay, and I kind of walked away from that. I was like, what a novel concept. Like, why don't you just raise money by giving people something that they want? Okay. So it's kind of a pessimistic view on things that, sure, there's lots of charitable people out there. And we want to continue to encourage people giving out of their own sense of meeting other people's needs in the world. That's awesome. That's amazing. We want more of that. But I'm also very realistic and understanding that this is a vast majority of people just aren't going to do that on a regular basis or in large amounts. Okay. And so how can you incentivize them to do that? Well, you can just give them something that they want. So basically, you're giving money, to them, they're getting something in exchange for their money, something you're already used to. People do it all the time. We spend money all the time to get things. But in this case, instead of the money just like going to, somebody for profit, it actually goes to a cause. And so the whole reason I'm making that illustration is to talk about this airdrop as an effective tool for raising money. Okay. So, basically all these fundraisers can go toward a cause of helping in a time like this. And I'm interested to see how this plays out, right? I'm not saying that this is like going to be a massive success. We don't know for sure, right? But this is an early time. Like I said, this is the first time I've seen a country, do something like this since I've been in the crypto space. Again, if anybody has a counter example that I'm not aware of, let me know down in the comment section below or the live chat replay. But I think this has potential to be another really compelling use case for crypto, for Web 3.0, for all of blockchain technology. And I don't think this is the last time we're going to see something like this. Now, we'll have to wait to see how the airdrop actually plays out. But I think this could be a powerful tool for relief. Okay. And so even if the airdrop doesn't turn into being some like, crypto that pumps like crazy overnight, like let's say that people, we had other efforts. Let's just take the Ukraine issue off the table. I was talking about any other like humanitarian relief. Like, what if you could donate from any other humanitarian relief and then get an NFT? Okay, like get some sort of badge. Like, think about that. You see it on Facebook all the time, where like people said, these are like ribbons, stuff like that, or like things like you see it online a lot. Like people have like a badge or something that says I support a cause. Well, what if you could prove that you supported a cause on the blockchain by paying money, and you had to get certain like status tiers based on how much you donated? Okay, and you got an NFT based on that. Like that's gonna attract a certain number of people to take action in a way that just giving money without recognition like wouldn't. It's kind of tragic that that's the case. Like a lot of people, have to be publicly recognized for their generosity, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. But it's just the nature of the game, right? And I think that can attract a lot more people into the space. So we finally got Walshy on the stream here. We had some technical difficulties this morning. I'm going to go ahead and add him here. So Walsh, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, loud and clear. Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're coming through fine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I don't know if you heard any of the stuff I was talking about with the Ukraine airdrop. I don't know if you heard all that, if I missed anything critical.
Yeah, no, I was listening to the tail end of that.
Awesome.
I think you nailed it. Spoke as well spoken, well said. There isn't really much to add. I think you hit the nail on the head there. There's just rampant speculation all across Twitter, all across social media about what's actually going to happen with this. I think, to your point, I couldn't find any examples of like any country having some kind of airdrop ever, period. So you're right, I think. Though fact check us, please, right? But I think this is like, monumental. It's first in history airdrop from a country. Circumstances, it's not that great, right? But at the same time, right, it's still an airdrop from a country, which is radical. 2 years ago, I guarantee no one would have believed that'd be happening, but here we are.
So there's also a comment in the chat that I want to address. Okay, and I actually meant to mention this when I was going through my explanation, but I was kind of just talking, just from here, not from like any notes or anything, extemporaneously. So one possibility here, we don't want to rule this out, is that Ukraine's account has been compromised. Okay. I'm going to put that on the less likely end of the spectrum. Okay. But we have seen this type of thing in the past. Like I feel like we'd know about it before. It's been just sitting there for days. Like if, because I feel like we'd seen news stories that were like, hey, we can't get access to our account. But I'm going to put on the lower likelihood end of the spectrum. But we have seen this in the past where people like post Bitcoin or ETH addresses and they're like, hey, send us money. I don't think that's the case, but you always have to consider those things when we're talking about people just saying give us money online. But I don't think it is.
I'm pretty much glued to the ecosystem all day, every day. And a couple days ago, when Ukraine posted their address for the first time for donations, that same thought first occurred to me. I just immediately like shared it and didn't think about it. But then Vitalik, like a couple minutes later, was like, "Hey, this could be fake. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nobody, everybody, don't do that." And after a bunch of like back and forth and internet sleuths doing their thing, it turns out at least that address was legitimate and it's verified, with government officials and the internet sleuths, etc. So that it's a great point, right? Sure, when you're sending something to someone using crypto, you're sending it to something real and not fake. But yeah, that's been checked many times, at least the one on the official Ukraine Twitter, as being legitimate.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Okay, so let's continue on here. So we got lots of other things that have popped up in the space since yesterday. We've been talking about, sorry, I'm just pulling this up on my screen here. We've been talking about what's going on with the crypto markets. Has seen, we've seen, I'll say some encouraging price action that could actually indicate some sort of fundamental shift of what's going on in the crypto space right now. We've been talking about this. Again, we've been talking about how crypto has been kind of at the epicenter of what's been going on in the international scene, especially in Europe. Again, not trying to like just use this as an opportunity, but where I want to drive home is that sometimes you have to like be in a situation in order for like things to really click and see why stuff's important. We're seeing the utility value of cryptocurrencies themselves shine because basically we have people who don't have access to their money. Okay. We have people whose currencies are getting devalued overnight. Okay. We have, lots of fears about what's going to go happen with the global economy, right? All type of stuff. And where I think we're seeing some of that reflected in the crypto space, right? We saw this come up yesterday, or this morning, I should say. This is Bloomberg report here. So let's just pull up my screen. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate this live stream software. So Bitcoin keeps pulling away from stocks roiled by the Ukraine war. Okay, so this is from Bloomberg. All right, basically talking about cryptocurrencies diverging in correlation from what's happening with the stock market itself. And we talked about this yesterday on our live stream, how sort of like the perspective of Bitcoin as a store of value and a hedge to everything that's going on right now, how that sort of idea is kind of coming to people's minds, especially for what I was talking about, people who don't have access to their money, people whose currencies are getting devalued, all that type of stuff is playing out right now for crypto. Now, some of that has to do with the price levels of actually Bitcoin itself. I'm not sure. We talked about this yesterday in the live stream. I'm not sure people would have that view as much if Bitcoin was at its all-time high. But Bitcoin being significantly below its all-time high, it looks more attractive, with all those qualities I just mentioned, as opposed to, kind of being up here. So I think we're seeing some of that play out in the actual price of Bitcoin itself. Again, I don't have a crystal ball to know what's going to happen next. But in my opinion, my humble opinion, right? Don't take this as financial advice. But how I'm looking at this is, in terms of likelihood, what's the most likely scenario versus the least likely scenario, and ranking those scenarios and the likelihood that we're just going to continue to like nuke down into oblivion that a lot of people are worried about got less likely, in my opinion. And the likelihood that we could at least hold the level that we're at now and, trend higher, both of those possibilities just got more likely, in my opinion. So I don't have timelines on that. I'm not saying that we couldn't be a rocky road, getting there, but some of that news has been pretty encouraging for crypto, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have too much to add. I'm not an active trader too much. I try to avoid speculation on the markets, so it's taken a lot of time and discipline to get to that point. I agree with you wholeheartedly. If I had to weigh in, again, not a financial expert, not financial advice. It seems it's war. And I saw a Twitter post pretty recently from a couple of people actually about this. And war is typically, unfortunately, I guess, it's bullish for just finance markets in general. So I'm not too surprised to see it jump up like this. I hope it stays consistent as well. It continues to go up. Everyone wants up only. I do too. And I'm inclined to, of course, agree with you. We've been seeing kind of like a quasi bear market now since about November. So it's basically been kind of like down/crap status. But, like you were just outlining, it's an interesting jump. And, I don't have TA to back this up, but it definitely feels as if that plus all the infrastructure, plus all the positive optimism that we've been pushing and everyone else has been pushing, about what's actually happening in the crypto market is leading to hopefully a nice spring. But, that's not financial advice. That's all speculation. I'm an optimist, fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not logged into TradingView right now, so I don't have all my settings pulled up. But if you can imagine here, we have some long-term moving averages. I'd like to see, these candles break above those longer-term moving averages and start holding them as support rather than using them as a resistance. We still haven't confidently done that yet, so we'll just have to wait and see what's going there. But we are seeing some significant shifts in perception of the crypto markets themselves, especially as they're related to stocks, not seeing them as correlated risky with stocks, and then also not, coupled with stocks and being a more of a haven asset. So speaking of, crypto, we do see, Colorado basically allowing crypto tax payments.
Yeah, no, this one's extremely exciting. If you want, I can go through it.
Yeah, sure. So Colorado becomes the first state to accept crypto for tax payments.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. So just a little bit background. The governor is Jared Polis. He's a former tech entrepreneur. He made a bunch of money in the late 90s and then, moved on to more philanthropic endeavors. What's important here is that he was actually the first U.S. representative in the entire country to accept campaign donations in Bitcoin. And that was back in 2014. Okay, 2014. Okay, so he is not new to this industry. He is not just, oh, what is this? Let's capitulate. No, like he has been involved for quite some time. So this was done right at the end of the conclusion of ETH Denver, and essentially, this program is not going to be available for this year's tax cycle. So if you're in Colorado right now, you're like, oh, let's go. Sorry, it's not ready yet. It's going to be ready this summer. But they have announced this. It was in a CNBC interview. He essentially wants to, just like we were saying, allow you to use crypto to pay for state taxes. taxes and want to make that differentiation and distinction. And this is for state taxes, not for federal, of course. He also wants to make a push to exempt crypto from the state security laws as well, just making everything nice and smooth as butter.
That's the real kicker here, in my opinion, is exempting crypto from state security laws. That's got a lot more implications beyond just this particular thing. So, I mean, like with the crypto taxes, part of what you're seeing here is the utility value of cryptocurrencies going up. We talk about that more and more about it's just every new thing that you can do with crypto enhances its value proposition. Okay. We've seen lots of news stories this week of eBay talking about accepting crypto for payments. Airbnb, wants to do it, right? Or you gotta go fact check me on some of those things. Some of those are intent versus maybe plans we don't necessarily know. But the whole idea is, as you have more and more people that do this, and you can pay your taxes in crypto, you can book an Airbnb, you can buy something online. You just have to wait for the day where you can make all your Amazon purchases with crypto. But the more you can do that, right? Like the more valuable cryptocurrencies themselves become, which increases the network effect of cryptocurrencies, which gives people more reason to hold it, which correlates, in my opinion, long term to prices of cryptocurrencies actually going up by sheer supply and demand economics. They have a scarce economic supply, and more reasons why you want to use them. We're seeing stuff like right now where basically, entire nations are getting canceled from a financial system, and there's lots of people don't even have access to their funds. More reasons to use it, and then there's more places where you can spend that. Some people are saying like, hey, well, I mean, who cares if you can't access your bank account if you can't spend the money? But what if you can spend the money? What if you can spend it at all these places, right? That's a brand new financial system, an entirely brand new financial system, not a super limited alternative financial system. That is a brand new financial system, okay? And that's what's really exciting, and that eventually reaches this inflection point. It's a tipping point where it's a snowball, and the momentum of the snowball itself becomes unstoppable, and that's why it's so exciting, and that's why you're just seeing every little snowflake accumulate on that snowball in real time. And that's one of the reasons we bring these things up, is so that you can actually witness history being made before your eyes.
Yeah, crazy times, right? Like we're actually living it, and it's actually happening right now. Really crazy times. I never thought I'd see the day, at least not for another couple of years. It definitely caught me by surprise that a country actually starts adopting crypto as legal tender and as a means to, of course, and I've seen a lot of speculation, not a financial expert, but there's like a lot of threads on crypto Twitter right now, basically trying to explain how like Russia can't use crypto to circumvent payments. But like obviously the citizens can utilize crypto to still manage their finances. I've seen some great threads about credit cards, digital forms of payment have been cut off. They're not working right now, and they're resorting to crypto in order to make those payments. Again, just wild. Absolutely, never thought we'd be seeing this. This is a total from left field. It's a positive development in the worst kinds of ways. And we're living it. That's history, man. That's happening.
Yeah, totally. So there's a question. Is it possible to stop blockchain from becoming Web 3.0? So I guess I need to clarify that question a little bit. So I mean, is the question, is it possible to stop like the branding of blockchain technology from becoming rebranded as Web 3.0, or is it like impossible to stop blockchain turning into Web 3.0? I guess I'll try to answer some of those questions that I think might be asked here. So really kind of like blockchain and Web 3.0 are almost synonymous. People use like anything powered by blockchain technology, people have called Web 3.0 for a long time. I mean, we've called things Web 3.0 since before I got in this space. So I think Web 3.0 terminology kind of came out in like 2015, 2016. I got in this space about 2017. To fact check me on some of those things, but I mean, we've had Web3.js, which is one of the main JavaScript libraries for creating decentralized applications for a long time. Okay, so Web3's kind of always been a word, kind of synonymous with blockchain. The whole idea behind creating Ethereum in the first place was to create an internet computer, a world computer. And that whole idea was that's the beginning of Web 3.0 is actually blockchain-based applications. And so they're distributed applications, uncensorable applications. And so that's kind of the promise of Web 3.0. Now that term has gained a lot of popularity over the past year or so as more Web 3.0 like use cases have come out, but besides just cryptocurrency. And even before that, we just call cryptocurrencies Web 3.0. We kind of use those as synonyms, like blockchain, Web 3.0, crypto were all the same thing. We had NFTs kind of during that time, but they weren't as popular as they are now today. Okay. But yeah, all those terms have kind of been loosely interchangeable with one another. Okay, except maybe for crypto and NFTs, those aren't really the same thing. But we can see distinctions between some of those use cases. For example, like if you had a website that was just a censorship resistant website. Where you put it on a decentralized file storage server, maybe there's nothing blockchain about it. But let's say you published an article. Let's say it's like a WikiLeaks kind of thing, or it's like a whistleblower article or something like that, and you put it out there on IPFS, and it can't be taken down. That's Web 3.0, and that's a use case of Web 3.0 technology. It's censorship resistant. Nobody can come in and shut down the web server, but it's not on blockchain. Okay, so that's an example of Web 3.0. It doesn't use blockchain, but people will still use that Web 3.0 terminology to describe blockchains themselves. So, and I mean, another part of the question is like, is there anything to stop the momentum of blockchain? Like I was talking about before, like this massive snowball. I mean, there are ways that can be tried, and we truly don't know until those measures are taken. That will be the real test, the real empirical test to see if this is truly unstoppable technology. I'm optimistic about that for a couple reasons. I mean, some of the ways that could do is like you could have, governments that would just try to completely shut it down. We've seen that. We've already seen that. We've seen people ban their citizens from using crypto. We've seen the banning of Bitcoin mining by entire countries. Hasn't stopped it so far. Now that could go even further, and you could say like entire, legions of nations banning it. We haven't really seen that on a massive scale yet, but I'm not super. I think that's unlikely at this point. There's too many incentives in play for countries to let their citizens use crypto, especially like in the United States, for example. Banning people from using crypto entirely is going to lose out on a lot of tax revenue. It's going to lose out on a ton of GDP growth, which why on earth would you want that, right? Like the most likely scenario in my mind is that we see regulations come into play that directly affect the U.S. interests in that case, which would be the U.S. dollar. What's the biggest threat to the U.S. dollar from a crypto perspective? I mean, I don't want to get too far out of my lane here, but if I were to guess, I would say it would be a stable coin, okay, that's pegged to the U.S. dollar, issued by a private issuer, more of like a centralized private issuer, then or maybe a collection of private issuers, all right, rather than maybe something necessarily like Bitcoin. Okay, I know that's going to ruffle a lot of people's feathers the wrong way. A lot of people think that Bitcoin is positioned to be this massive reserve currency. It could be one day, but I think presently at the time, if I'd had to guess, the bigger threat, perceived threat, would be a bunch of stable coins that could basically because like if you're sitting around scratching your head and you are the you're part of the central bank, you're like, this thing suspiciously looks exactly like what we do. I mean, a lot more than this Bitcoin thing does. So with all that being said, more likely the stable coins are in the crosshairs rather than just all of blockchain, all of crypto. And I don't see stable coins getting banned as much as I see them getting regulated, and the use of stable coins being regulated and or, like tax, okay, to where basically you have an alternative in place, which might be a central bank digital currency, and the regulations imposed upon stable coins themselves basically make the use of the alternative central bank digital currency more favorable to use from an incentive standpoint than the privately issued ones. So there's a lot of speculation behind that. All right. I'm just kind of putting two and two together based on my reading of history, based on my reading of basic economics and my understanding of the crypto space. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, totally agree. I think you nailed that. I really don't have too much to add. I think actually the one thing I can add is that I think if we see stablecoin regulation, you're gonna obviously see some pushback from the crypto industry from us, but at the same time, it might be good. We'll see. I don't know. I'll have to see that play out. But if it allows more corporations, if it allows more institutions, if it allows more big spenders to come into the industry, then typically what ends up happening is markets go up, which could be a good thing. However, again, I don't do regulation. It's not my big thing there. I don't want to weigh in and say for tit for tat or if it's good or bad. We'll see what happens. I would agree with you. If there was a way to do it, if there was a way to clamp down on the crypto industry, it's probably that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, my view is that I think crypto can do just fine without regulations, but I'm a realist and thinking that regulations are coming, and there's not really a lot you can do about that. But the best trade off that you can possibly get is trying to help shape the direction for the most favorable regulations possible, and that really looks like the least bad regulations for the crypto space, and also, just the entire world. Like, a lot of people I think in crypto are guilty of like I want crypto to succeed by any means possible, even if it means people starving to death. That's a pretty extreme example, right? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, it's
People
extreme.
don't actually think that, right? But what I'm saying is like people get kind of crazy in crypto. It's like I don't care if all the currencies of the world go to zero. Like I want my Bitcoin. Like it's like, dude, that's not what we're talking about at all. So it's that's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is how can we get the best trade-off possible for everybody involved, even people who never decide to use crypto. We don't want to make their life worse, right?
Yeah,
I think we
definitely.
want to be very clear about what the grand mission here is.
I would say as last point is just we need more stable coins, not less. And so, if you're making stable coins, good on you. I know a lot out there. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, totally. All right, everybody, that's all we got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. If you got anything that you want to discuss in our live streams, definitely hit up Walshy on Twitter. You can see his Twitter handle there. If you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can get my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, actually become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.